This podcast contains explicit content.
Good evening, cowards.
This podcast is hardly focused.
Oh my God. No.
Dissecting the news, one tangent at a time.
We all have ADHD and anything else would be boring as hell.
Focus, Jack Gill, Becky Hill. We are part of the Solid Listen podcast network. You can find us at hardlyfocus.com. We are on your favorite podcast app, YouTube, and TikTok. Just search for Hardly Focused. Becky and I, fresh off a whirlwind trip to Nashville.
Yeah, I didn't think we would be sitting here today on March 4th as changed people.
When you leave on a Saturday evening and return bright and early on a Monday morning, giving yourself 20, maybe 30 hours.
I think it was like a good solid 36 hours.
Yeah, like quite literally a day and a half from Boston to Nashville, back to Boston. And I think for that window, maybe the early travel, especially on a Monday morning, do not recommend. Everything else about the trip, recommend.
Honestly, I don't know. It worked out for what we needed to. We had to go back to work. Timing, I'd recommend if you're looking to go to a show on a Sunday night that you have to travel for and you're wondering, should I do it? I would recommend doing it and flying home Monday morning. YOLO.
The 2 hours of sleep I got and then having to immediately go to work, we'll disagree with you.
You wouldn't do it the same way over again? You had no other way around this.
See, this is a debate that you and I have had in the past where, like, we do something big like this and I'm like, we did it. I'm happy we did it. Like, I don't want to do that again.
That's fine. I'll leave you home. I'll go do it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you operate on no sleep. I can't operate on no sleep.
Yeah, but then you slept for a good, 18 hours.
Sure. I made up all that time, but it was a very difficult day to get through before I hit the finish line.
You'll be okay.
I am. I slept for a long time. I am fresh as a daisy now.
Some of these things.
Get it?
First pun of the night. I do think if there is something significant and it's going to cost a lot of money and it's going to cost a lack of sleep and some time, you should seize the opportunity and do it. And you can make all that other stuff up later. You can get money later. You can get sleep later.
Yeah. How'd you like Nashville? All that aside.
Honestly, I loved it. I don't like any city. I am not a city girl. And while I enjoy seeing new places and I do have a bucket list of cities I do want to see, I'm always a little bit skeptical of, am I actually going to enjoy this? And I loved it. Now, granted, I saw a very fast track version of it. So I saw a very narrow view into this city. But I did make Jack travel a good distance around the city so I could quickly take everything in before he booked it out of there. And I liked the vibe.
I'm happy you did. Because it does make me sad that you're not a city girl.
Yeah.
Like knowing you're not chomping at the bit to want to take like a trip to New York City that doesn't involve the 9/11 museum.
That's the only reason you'll get me in, yeah. Well, maybe a concert.
Well, I know like downtown areas, it really depends on what city it is.
Yeah.
Some of the best things happen like just outside the city. Like we went to Broadway in Nashville, which is where everybody goes when they go to Nashville. And I know that's like part of the downtown area, but it's not like downtown, if that makes sense. It's kind of off the beaten path a bit.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm in a place where someone will just start singing to me unprovoked, I really don't know. I want to go home at that point.
Yeah. Like, I'm curious how you're going to feel about Las Vegas.
I'm going to hate that part. I'm going to want to stay indoors at all times.
Or you might like it. You never know. I mean, I kind of felt the same way about Vegas too. I've been multiple times, and I can take it in bits and pieces. And the times that, people wanted to go out and enjoy the strip, I said I would rather stay inside where it's cool and there are no people. But then there are other times I just want to go out and explore. So, like, you got to be in the good mindset for it.
Yeah, if you can, I mean, if there's a lot of people, right, and you can just try to position yourself as you walk where the guy next to you will be the one who will be sung to. And you can keep walking with your head down. As long as there's big numbers, I can handle it. It's just those moments of, it's just you and me. And we're sold something we don't want. Ignore
everybody in Vegas, by the way. Everybody on the streets when they're asking you if you want really anything at all.
Yeah.
They don't exist. Just keep going.
Yeah, some people are better at this. This is just part of city living. I never know how to interact with the public.
Yeah. Well,
I panic.
Thankfully, you don't have to interact with anybody. Interact only with the people that you approach. If they approach you, unless they have a badge, do not talk to them. Just ignore them. Nashville, not bad though. I think like one person was like doing the whole crier thing for their
we got a good Jesus bit. I felt right at home. I felt like I was leaving a Bruins game.
Yeah. That one was fascinating because we're in the South. So we're seeing a true young Southern preacher. And there's probably a bit more reception to people like that compared to Boston, say, because again, it's the South. People are more conservative and religious in the South. But this dude also seems like he was ready to cram it down your throat. And I don't think, at least in the Nashville area, folks are receptive to that.
Yeah. One thing I don't know. So full disclosure, I am not well traveled, right? I go to my same few places time and time again. One thing that's a little bit different from what I've seen in like Boston is just also the amount of animals just lined up on the street too.
Like,
I struggle with that.
Like, we're talking about legitimate animals.
Yeah, like a dog.
Okay.
I just hope all the dogs are happy.
I'm sure they are, and especially in Nashville, on Broadway. Imagine all the scraps of food they're getting. You got to try some authentic Southern barbecue.
Yeah, I don't know if Luke Bryan's restaurant is authentic Southern barbecue, but you know what? We'll say it is for this.
You could say you had barbecued pulled pork in Nashville. I mean, it's like me saying I had last year, an authentic hot chicken sandwich in Nashville. Next time we go, by the way, that's on the list. Like, you got to try
yeah,
it for real.
that was me doing you a solid. I let you get the pork. I struggled the whole time eating it. It's not for me. I don't eat pigs.
I am a pig, so I don't mind eating myself.
But I split the difference with you here. We were getting one appetizer. I was like, I know that's what you want. Get it. I'll eat around it.
Mm-hmm. Well, we also had a plan to eat somewhat light and do a bit of a food tour during our short stay in Nashville. And it kind of didn't pan out like the way we thought. Like, I'm glad, like, portion wise, I think we did pretty well.
Yeah.
But like, we had like all these, I think, larger plans for what we wanted to take in.
No, actually, I think
I'm satisfied with what we got.
But I don't think anything. We had our few, and for those who haven't listened to our past fast food episodes, Jack and I love to go to a fast food chain that we can't get at home, and that becomes the vacation. What chain what new chain can we go and give a review of? And in the end, we love everything anyways.
And that makes me so happy. It really does, because my ex-wife and I got into a shouting match over going to In-N-Out when we went to Vegas the first time. And it was all the mentality of, oh, we can get burgers at home. Like, you don't understand. Sure, if you want to go that route.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't get In-N-Out at home because it doesn't exist on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So no, it's the novelty of going somewhere that we can't go to at home. And I appreciate that you are down for the ride.
Yeah, it's a different experience, right? Like I totally get the people who are, no, you got to go to this mom and pop and get the authentic best food. And it very well could be. This is there's no comparison. It's just a different game we're playing. We are playing, let's check all the fast food boxes off on a list. And that's what I think is fun to do. Mm-hmm. I also wanted to go see the local grocery store. I haven't been to a Kroger. We made sure to hit that up. These are just little fun things I like to do.
Yeah, I was down for the ride to go to Kroger, and like literally the next day the CEO just abruptly resigned for conduct issues. So let's take the blame for that.
Well, in fairness, their self-checkout was kind of a nightmare. Everything we did wrong caused it to blank. So you know what? Maybe he needs to think about the systems that he set up.
Yeah, that whole self-checkout system, and maybe it was just that particular Kroger that we went to, but it reminded me of when this system as a whole was introduced almost 20 years ago, because I worked at a supermarket. And I very fondly remember coming in one day, seeing half of our checkout lanes ripped out and the self-checkout machines being installed as this new technology. And for the first probably year that those things were installed, they were a nightmare to use. They were just finicky and constantly erroring out. And being at Kroger in 2025 took me back. Yeah, almost 20 years.
Isn't that funny that Stop and Shop really was the pioneers, at least in our area, for self-checkout, which is now you can see that everywhere.
They're starting to get rid of them.
Well, because they were the first to do it and take a leap into the future, and there were so many kinks to work through that totally, I think, caused the customers who like I like to do it at Shaw's. The system works better. I don't have that same negative feeling, but I think Stop and Shop took the hit where all that negative connotation goes to them, and now they're suffering for it.
That's something I want to do on our next a big trip, is go to an Albertsons owned supermarket.
Yeah.
Because they don't have Shaw's or Star Market in, say, Tennessee. I don't know if
is Kroger's not part of that family, is it?
No, they're a competitor. Okay. But I don't know what footprint Albertsons has in Nashville. I'm sure I could easily look it up. Yeah, but I want to go somewhere where they have, because I know the store names, like Albertsons itself is a store. Safeway, I know, is all over the West Coast. I just want to go to one of those stores because it's functionally like it's just going to Shaw's. It's no different than going to Shaw's. The Shaw's in Raynham, where you used to live, they legitimately had Safeway baskets.
Yeah.
But we can use our cards there, our store cards, all the same store brands are there. But it like my father, for example, I remember we took a trip to Washington State. This is back in 2004. And that man was so excited to have his photo taken in front of a Safeway. So that's going to be awesome.
I follow a few Instacarters across the country. One of them being in the Southern California area. Mm-hmm. And I picked up watching them just midway through a stream. It just brought me to it. And I thought we were at Shaw. I didn't know where he was located. It took me a while to orient, but just him shopping around the whole time, I'm like, oh no, this is Shaw's. And then I realized it's like an Albertsons or something. And I'm like, yeah, there was no difference in feeling. Was it
Vaughn's?
Maybe. Yeah, okay. You're right, actually.
Yeah, because Vaughn's is everywhere in California.
Is that part of the family?
It is.
Then yeah, it was just copy paste. I mean, I guess that makes sense. It's so silly though that they have to name recognition in different places. I'm like, wouldn't it just be easier to just have one?
You'd think so. And out there too, I mean, there's Albertsons and Safeways everywhere. Those are, I think, the biggest names under that brand.
I guess we have Star Market, which is Shaw's as well.
Yeah, Star Market. I mean, that's literally just in the city of Boston and the surrounding towns. Star doesn't extend I think like Metro West. That's it. Like it doesn't. You will not find a Star Market out here.
So did Shaw's or
they acquired them?
Okay, so they were independent. Then they just keep the name.
Yep, they were independent.
So lame.
Yeah, and then Albertsons acquired like the dozen stores that they have. And that is that. We have famously, if you've never been to Boston, if you drive down the Massachusetts Turnpike, getting into the city, you quite literally drive underneath a Star Market. There's a Star Market that was constructed that goes over the highway, and you drive underneath it. It is one of those things you just need to see it to believe it. And then you also drive under a hotel later on down that stretch. For some reason, it was decided that businesses, establishments should be constructed right over the highway, because why not?
Yeah, you got to squish it all in.
Why not? Have you ever been in that Star Market?
In Boston?
The one that goes over the highway? I've never been to it. I've gone by it hundreds and hundreds of times.
I've only been in the one that's
inside.
near the Garden. I don't know if we're talking about the same one.
No, I mean, it's one of the 12 Star Markets in existence in Boston. But if you're driving down the highway, it's the one that you drive under.
I didn't know we drove under one, so
really?
I'm just learning now. Yep.
Really? Okay.
I think I'm too busy shutting my eyes and
Were you like that stressed driving to the airport? Because we drove under it going to the airport.
Oh, I was
a few days ago.
Yeah, I was just hoping it didn't collapse on us. I was having a lot of fear with this travel, just given, a lot. It just feels like a difficult time to travel.
Yeah,
and my anxiety didn't help. So I was white knuckling it the entire ride in, then the flight there, and I felt great though once we landed.
I mean, the return trip, yeah, you were doing a lot better.
I know.
You were not having it the way there. But,
I was super excited. Well,
but we made it. That's the thing. We made it, and it's fine.
I put a lot of I don't know the right word, but when I really want something to go well and I'm really excited about it, I tend to make the experience semi-miserable because of how deeply I want it to have fun and make it a positive experience. It's kind of like, I don't know. I'm working against myself here. It makes no sense. Like I'm just like, I don't know. I'm a stressful planner.
There's one person that's going to make sense to, and it's me, because
maybe you can articulate it.
Well, for a long time, I would always tell myself, like, this is going to go awful. Like, I just kind of set really low expectations for myself and would say, this is going to go awful. It's going to be a disaster. That way, if it was a disaster, well, then at least I was prepared for it. And if it wasn't a disaster, then I would be having the time of my life and it'd be the best thing ever. Because now all of my expectations have been blown away.
I kind of act that way too until it becomes more and more a reality. Cut back to Taylor Swift, right? Where I'm like, we're just going to go and on a hope and a prayer and hope we get tickets. And then I get tickets and then the stress started.
Oh, yeah.
It escalated because the reality was closer. There's just this threshold I have where this is something I anticipated so much that I become very
maniacal,
serious. I become serious,
insufferable.
Yeah, no, I know, but
unpleasant to be around.
So it was that, and I was really scared to get on a plane. The first plane ride, after just different things going through my head, I was very stressed. And then once I did it, I'm like, Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've had
Okay.
There was obviously the plane crash that happened in Washington, D.C. There was the one that was in Toronto that landed upside down, but everybody survived. But now all these various aviation errors are being reported, and
Elon's tweeting, and I'm like, oh no, we don't have enough people working.
It doesn't help that a lot of the aviation errors being reported on now are things that happen more often than people realize, and they go unnoticed because they're almost routine at this point.
But that doesn't make me feel better. A lot of people are saying that, where they're like, don't worry, it's not that anything more is happening. It's just you're more aware of it. And I'm like, that actually makes me feel worse.
That's literally why they have air traffic controllers to mitigate these issues from happening more often and being more serious than they end up playing out. Like if a plane is told at the last second, if a pilot is told, hey, lift back up, don't complete the landing to avoid this collision. Well, like, good. You just saved 100 lives.
Yeah. Over the years, though, there has been a lot of like almost issues just at Logan specifically.
Logan's also a very, I don't want to say like oddly designed airport, but remember, like the runway, I think both runways are like on the water.
Right. And anytime there's more water involved, where, sort of like in New York, where if there's a situation, a bird strike, and you got to circle back around, there's a lot more. It could be good or bad. I don't know. But the ocean is a factor that I just don't love.
Yeah. Sometimes things like this happen too, and it inconveniences everybody.
It's just a biohazard issue. We've had a passenger who had diarrhea all the way through the airplane, so they want us to come back to Atlanta.
Yeah, and I think someone was getting sick on our way there, where I kept hearing it periodically a couple rows in front of us.
I feel like I heard that too, and it didn't like immediately resonate with me that they were sick. They just had a very disgusting sounding cough.
I thought that at first, and then I really started to listen, and I'm like, that sounds like there's something behind that.
Well, did you see flight attendants rushing over to them though every time it happened?
No, but if you're just you get car sick and you got your little barf bag, I don't know that they would.
Oh, I mean, they're supposed to dispose of that. That's a biohazard issue. If you're just sitting there with a bag, they're going to take it. They're going to safely dispose of it. And then they're going to give you another bag. And then they're going to do whatever they can to prevent you from doing it further, because it's going to be very unpleasant for the people sitting around them having to listen to that.
Well, it was a very empty flight, or am I wrong? There was a lot of people sleeping and taking up the whole row, so I just figured they just would give them a quiet.
Just make them sit in the bathroom for the whole flight. Why not?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, all that aside, we got to try Checkers for the first time. Phenomenal. That's how we capped it off. And across the street was
authentic Southern cuisine. Checkers.
Yeah, Checkers is a place that I have been wanting to go to for about 10 years now. And every time I'm in proximity of a Checkers or Rallies, I ultimately never go. And then right across the street from the Checkers was Cookout, which I went to for the first time at Mike Tarara's insistence. I went there last year and then finally got to introduce Becky to it. Not the food, but the milkshakes.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you think of those?
I thought it was great.
Good. And
now, in disclosure, when I'm very hyped up from an experience I just had, food, I don't know. I didn't even taste it. I didn't even want it really. So I enjoyed it, but I probably would have enjoyed it better had I not been so like pent up.
Yeah, your brain shut off.
I go dog brain.
Checkers though, what I loved was the guy. So first at this Checkers, they have AI taking the order for you at the drive-thru, which threw me off. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, that was funny, and I was nervous for you because I know you're a little nervous at a drive-thru. You've come a long way with it, but when we started dating, I don't think you really went to them.
No.
And so watching
not with
you
people, not with people. I go by myself, but I wouldn't ever do it with people.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah. So talking to the AI is so awkward. And honestly, their AI was awful. No. It was good. It caught the order, but it wasn't personable.
Right. Like I had I almost wanted to say to it, can you read back what I just ordered? I'm surprised it didn't. But we therefore took a gamble, but like we got the few things that we ultimately ordered, we got. But you know what I loved is that the dude working at the window, he called me Hoss.
Aw.
And that is Southern slang that refers to a big, strong, independable person, often a man. So I am Hoss. All right.
Yeah, you were. The boys down there loved you.
Oh yeah. The from all sides.
Hell yeah.
The guy that checked us into the hotel.
He was great.
Oh boy, did he love me.
Yeah,
like, quite literally.
I think
he
just
me. He didn't like you. He was jealous of you. He liked me.
Yeah, you were the one with the credit card. Shout out him. He was great. I think your name was Damien.
Yeah. Or Damien. It was Damien.
Shout out.
Damien with a C. So we spent the afternoon at the Country Music Hall of Fame.
This was after we had
Maple, that was the Maple Biscuit Company.
And you know what? Everyone should go there. It was fantastic.
The Country Music Hall of Fame, I felt like when I went there the first time last year as part of a larger group, and it kind of felt rushed going through it. So this time I could take my time and really take everything in. And you saw it all for the first time. What did you think of that?
I love a museum. Hall of Fame is in that category, so I loved it. I could just stare at things behind glass all day.
What was your favorite part of the Country Music Hall
My
of Fame?
favorite part was seeing Luke Combs' 2007 prom court page of his yearbook, where he is there and the kid to the bottom right of him had a brand new shirt on. It just was like, this is a universal experience. And I felt very connected to Luke. It was his birthday the day that we were there.
It's funny how that works out.
Yeah, he had a big, I assume they have a featured artist that they swap it in and out in one section, like a featured current artist. This was his turn. But just seeing the brand new shirt gagged me.
I wonder.
And I have that shirt in blue.
I wonder if that was intentional. Like someone setting up that display, like just wanted to, they saw the opportunity and they took it, the brand new shirt there, and
I don't think so.
I think
No, I think Luke happened to be on that page, so they showed the page he's on.
It is a very 2007 thing to have, but also brand new, making an appearance at the Country Music Hall of Fame. Country music, a genre that they're not fully in.
I went looking for that kid on Facebook to see where he was at.
And?
I feel creepy reporting back, but I think he's all right.
You brought it up.
I know. I was just like, I wonder if he's here.
If he was at the event?
Yeah. Or if he's like friends with Luke.
Yeah. The whole reason why we were in Nashville wasn't to go to the Country Music Hall of Fame, although I'm happy we did. I'm happy that you got to see Broadway. I'm happy you got the very quick Nashville experience, and I look forward to you having a more time to really check it out.
Yeah.
In the future.
Yep. And I got to do a drive-by of Taylor's residence and be like, girl, get down here and dance for me.
You just flipping it off as we drove by.
I love you so much, Taylor.
I mean, there's really nothing positive about your attitude as we were going by it.
No, I like to hate on her as I drive by while desperately, desperately loving her so much. I'm so angry she's not my friend.
Jack is one of my friends.
Yeah, she's not one of mine, though.
Becky's like, get out here. Get out here. So I want to like pull the megaphone out, but I realize it's 11 p.m., so I'm not going to. But were Becky yelling, she'd be saying, get out here so I can call you a cunt and then hug you.
Yeah, and then I'll arrest myself because I know that's coming. I mean, we were respectful. We didn't slow down. We just drove by, and it was funny. Someone in front of us as we were approaching just like slammed on the brakes and then pulled over, and just a girl hopped out, and I was like, "Yep, she's stopping for her photo." And I'm like, "All right, Jack, just keep it moving." But in my head. I needed to do that. I very respectfully.
This podcast is hardly focused.
I'm funny. I'm a funny person.
They're highly contagious.
You are listening to Hardly Focused.
I'm wearing a goddamn coat and I'm still fucking freezing. Yeah, I got a goddamn high fever. Get me the fuck out of here.
I'm constantly in the state of wanting to throw up.
Well, we were in Nashville for a chief reason, and it was not to do any of the stuff that we just talked about for the last 30 minutes. All of that was just secondary and tertiary.
Yeah, you can timestamp where we get to the meat.
to what we were doing out there. And we were out there because quite literally days prior to this trip. This is not a trip that we planned and booked months in advance. No, we planned and booked it mere days in advance. And it's because days prior, it was announced that Jesse Lacey was performing at the Eastside Bowl in Madison, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville.
Was it even announced?
It was.
Let's take a step back. I do feel this requires a recap. So this is just so funny to me. I know a lot of speculation has been ramping up in the last, especially 2 months, right? With the show that Brand New performed in December last year, the show in January, for raising money for the fires. It seemed things were moving and the rumors are flying. Having something come in that actually substantiated these rumors, where we just sat here waiting, we knew the vibe. It was reaching a point that something was going to be announced. I think it was only 2 or 3 weeks ago we just did our podcast where we were talking more about Jesse's return to music and the allegations against him and what Brand New is doing and feelings associated with that. We just really recently recapped it.
Yeah, not even a month ago.
Right. No,
yeah.
I think it was 3 weeks ago. So check that out. Had you asked me that, would it be in 3 weeks? I'd be sitting on this couch and now we could say we saw him. No, that happened so goddamn fast. And Jack, I got to give you credit here because I had told you it was a Tuesday. I'm in flow. I can't be bothered. I'm, while I work, I just can't have any interruption. So you really got to decide if it's important enough to interrupt me. And there was a knock at my door. Becky, check your texts.
Yeah, I didn't even knock on it. I just yelled into the room through the door, and I was just going to leave it at that. So announced is, I guess, a bit of a subjective term. I just happened to have gone on Reddit and went to the Brand New subreddit, and there was a post that was 30 minutes old, and it was titled something like, "How come no one has posted yet that Jesse's doing a solo show and the tickets are on sale?" So this show just was posted by the Eastside Bowl in Madison, Tennessee, announcing that Jesse was playing, and literally a week from that date. And I'm sure when that happened, they just kind of sat back and said, this will be discovered. Not immediately, but just give it time and people are going to find it. And sure enough, that's what happened. It made the rounds on Reddit. The thing that happened with the Los Angeles private show a couple months ago is that show was accidentally made available for the public to purchase so long as they had a code to get into the sale. And some people figured out what that code was and purchased tickets, and then they got their tickets refunded because then there was, I guess, a verification process saying, okay, are you part of this industry? Are you part of the guest list that we're assembling? No. Well, sorry, it's a private event, so you're not allowed in. This time around, it was open to the public. And Eastside Bowl, it's quite literally a bowling alley that used to be a Kmart. And they have a performance venue there. And it's like a 700-something cap. And whether or not you like this, the show sold out, and it sold out fast. And you got tickets.
Yeah.
You worked your magic, and you got tickets.
The brand new Reddit. So this being in a room full of 100% Redditors in a specific subreddit was a wild experience. The concert took place on Reddit. Reddit was constantly being talked about the entire time. It was just, thank God for it. That's how, Jack, you found out so quickly, and I was able to get tickets. So the second he told me, now remember, said this a few times on this show, I have an addiction to the Ticketmaster roulette. I buy tickets to things I have no intention of going for because it is a problem. It's an addiction. So no matter what, the instant kicked over, get tickets. Don't even figure out if we can go.
Just logistics.
Like fill the need, get the dopamine. It was sold out, couple refreshes, and I got them. And I didn't even tell Jack. I just secured them, then started thinking, is this something realistically, like quickly looked at flights we could do? And
it was, but it wasn't.
Well, yeah, I priced it out. I'm like, oh, this is going to be like a $1,500 weekend. Is this, with all our plans, does this make sense? So I say to Jack, what do you like? I kind of want to go. What do you think? And you were, yeah, I think we should. And I was like, oh shit.
I kept saying yes.
Right. You did. And thank God you did. I would have been deeply disappointed had we decided not to, but once you really started supporting the idea, I'm like, yep, all right. And that night, plane tickets were booked.
And we were there. It just all of a sudden it was just happening. And there isn't a better feeling than knowing you're about to go on a trip and you're really excited for it. And it's not something that you book months to years in advance and then you're impatiently waiting. It's like, oh, I booked this 3 days in advance and we're going. We wake up Saturday and realize, oh, we gotta get ready to go. We gotta go to the airport.
No, I was really thankful that it was such a short turnaround because, again, brand new, by extension, Jesse and Taylor Swift are those are the bands. And having to wait 2 years to see Taylor from announcement was a miserable time in my life. I needed it to happen fast. I just needed to see it. So, because again, the stress hits. I need it to happen. So the short turnaround for me was good.
We've been waiting 7 years.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
7 years.
You're right. But
7 years for
it's a different type of waiting
for brand new to come back. And Becky and I, so Becky and I know each other because we used to work together at the radio station, and that even then is I guess argumentative because you're an intern and I was in the programming side of things, and we only met each other once or twice at the radio station, but we became friends on social media after that first meeting, and then found out very quickly that we both had a shared love of brand new. So for the years following that, and what was the conversation that sparked where we are today.
Yeah,
it's always been about brand new.
Well, I was introduced to you with, "Hi, this is Jack. He likes brand new."
Oh, hell yeah!
So that was the introduction. And when we were introduced intentionally to each other, it was because of brand new,
and it just went from there.
And so that became the subject that, we would touch base.
And it was by someone who doesn't listen to Brand New, but knew that I did and be like, oh, you guys will be friends.
Yeah. And I was at that time period, I would travel quite often. Brand New would come up all the time because I was traveling a lot to see them.
And I was jealous of you. And I still am a little jealous of you even today that you took all these trips.
But you've seen them quite a bit.
So, I have seen them, and I also have traveled to see them. But you going from Boston to Los Angeles, like that always just impressed me. Even
amongst other states, I've seen them in a lot of places.
Seeing your Facebook posts from 2013, I remember griping to you because I was trying to get tickets to one of their album shows, one of the 4 album shows that they did in 2013, and you got tickets. I didn't.
Did I not give you the Brooklyn show that I did not go to?
You didn't get it.
I know. I just have that ticket as a memento now. That was never
probably
the one at the Bell.
No,
I'm sorry, Jack.
No, so I didn't get to see. I guess they did Devil and God that night. That must have been because what did you see? You saw Your Favorite Weapon.
Yeah.
And Deja?
Yeah.
Deja and Tendu?
Yeah, I only went to the first night in California. Well, they played at the
Troubadour.
Yeah, but I don't know if that was technically an album show. I just can't remember. And then it was the Santa Ana show. I saw night 1.
Yeah. I just remember the New York show. They played Fork and Knife, and which we kicked this episode off with, and that might have been the first time they ever played it live. There's a delightful video of Jesse laughing in the middle of it because Vinicardi is noodling on the piano, and it threw him off. But it's now the year 20 and 25. Jesse Lacey putting on his first public performance since 2017. We're going to, why all of a sudden performances stopped occurring by Jesse and Brand New in 2017. The band was supposed to break up in 2018. So I don't know if this was calculated that they would break up in 2018 and then 7 years later, they'd come back. But the show, again, happening at the Eastside Bowl, this is now the third time that we know of that Jesse and members of Brand New have performed at this venue, because we know that they did something a couple of years ago around Christmas time. We know that Brand New played a reunion show there, a private event, last year, at the end of last year, also around Christmas time. And then now we had this public performance that, again, small venue, 700 something people fit in there. And I feel, make of this what you will, I feel compelled to mention there were a lot of women at that show.
Really?
I think there were a lot of women at that show.
I thought it was actually fair and balanced. It felt like it was all couples.
Oh, yeah. And they were all...
It was all boy, girl.
And they were all very, very, very happy and excited to be there. It was a good crowd.
It was the most interesting crowd I have been. I don't know. There was something very special about it.
It was a very passionate crowd.
You had to be a real one to be there, just based on no promotion. A lot riding on this. 2 ticket maximum. Hard to get.
People getting turned away if they purchased from anywhere.
And Brand New always does that. You had to. Scalpers be damned with Brand New. I mean, there are ways around things, but good luck.
You had to buy from AXS. If you bought from a resale website, then some people were able to get in. Others are getting turned away at the door. So,
one thing that was interesting in the California show, I remember, I think that was the only one. I had to show my ID that I actually was the girl on the credit card. And there were issues with people getting in who their parent bought the ticket.
It was a mess even back then.
They've always taken it seriously.
They were really trying to combat scalpers back in, say, 2013, well before, practices that have been put in place now to fight that stuff because I remember like they dumped you into a queue and you had to wait. That was like the first time they ever did like a ticket queue sort of thing. But
oh my God, yeah. 2K King.
Yeah, you found out the other night.
Yes, I clicked on an old link in an email from that website days, and now it brought me to porn. Bummer.
So now the theory that I had going into this was based off something that Brian Fallon did a few years ago because it had been announced that the Gaslight Anthem was reuniting. So we all knew this. And then around the holidays every year, Brian Fallon does a show at Crossroads, a venue called Crossroads in New Jersey. So around this time, I'm going to say it was like late 2021, maybe 2022. People pay to see Brian Fallon because that's who's on the bill. It's just Brian. They think they're going to see a solo show by Brian Fallon. Brian comes out with the members of Gaslight Anthem, and that effectively becomes Gaslight's first reunion show.
Mm-hmm.
It's a surprise to everybody. So I'm walking into this show at Eastside Bowl the other day thinking, this is going to be a brand new show. It's billed as a Jesse solo show, but brand new is going to perform. And sure enough, we walk in and not only are amps set up, not only is there a case that has Jesse's, it's either a Jazzmaster or a Jaguar. I can't remember, but it's got the DeLorean Motor Company's decal on the body. And I see that in the cabinet. And I see Brian Lane's drums set up, the drummer for Brand New. So at this point, I'm all but convinced it's going to be a brand new reunion show. So much so, Becky, you were taking some furtive enjoyment in the banter that I was having with people in the crowd.
Yeah. I mean, your eye and knowledge, you know, in how these musicians like their instruments set up. You do talk about it just on the day to day. Like that's your thing. So when the stakes were high and you know, you could tell this stuff and you share it and people are amazed. I'm like, go off, Queen.
Yeah, I recognized the on the drum head, CC drums. That's what Brian plays. That's what he endorses. Recognized the finish of the drums. Pulled up a Getty Images photo, or maybe it was Alamy, but one of those from several years ago. And now the thing that threw me off was the placement of one of the crash cymbals, because Brian likes to have it, the one to his right, he likes to have it low. And this one was high. So this now this is where I was telling people, literally telling the people around us, I was 98% confident that it was Brian's kit. And then the opening band, their drummer, uses that kit. So now these people are like, oh no, it's the opening band's kit. So now my, credibility is starting to come into question. But what did we find out? We find out that drummer, his name is Ben Humla. Ben Humla. Ben Humna. You know how I am with pronouncing names. He is not only the drummer in Group Love, he played drums in Dashboard Confessional, but he's also Brian Lane's drum tech. So the band called Summer Rental, and if you look up a band called Summer Rental, it is not this one that performed. I guess there are multiple bands named Summer Rental. One with a bunch of what look like children, young people, and then the band that we saw, everyone in that band significantly older. Not like elderly old men, but definitely not children. They were very good. They reminded me of the Menzingers to some degree. And when they were done performing, Ben gets up and he starts taking the cymbals off the stands, which is indicative of multiple bands sharing a single drum kit, so they don't have to break that down and set up a new kit between acts. And when the cymbals started coming off, everybody around us looking at me saying he was right.
Yep.
And what sealed it was then Ben took that the stand that would be to the right of the kit and lowered it. Just the way Brian Lane likes it.
I mean, and meanwhile, I was like, Jack, turn around. There's Brian right there. He's right here. He's literally right there. But Jack was like, I don't want to look. I don't want to like stare. And I'm like, yeah, but like.
I know he's right there, but like.
I kept just being like, no, they're here. I see them. I don't know that they're going to play, but that was a part of the story you would not take in.
Yeah, I mean, the one time I don't want to actively stare at a musician who's out in the crowd. He's not necessarily out in the crowd. He wouldn't have been.
There was a lot of people in that room, and not everyone was right at the window on display. He clearly had no issue being on display.
Yeah, it is like, because I'm glancing at Reddit, I'm glancing at Discord, and when I started to back away from it is when people were posting pictures of the set list, because the people come out and they tape them down on the stage, and I don't want to see that. But people are also reporting that all the members of Brand New are in the building, and we saw Brian. And it's reported that Vinicardi and Garrett Tierney are also in the building.
Garrett was staring at us. It was just the beard. I didn't clock him like right. It just threw me off for a minute. And then Jack later looks at the photo. He's like, he's right in this photo. I was like, that's so funny.
He's literally sitting next to Brian.
But I was so focused on seeing Brian. I honest to God, I didn't even really look like the man next to him. I was. Again, dog brain. There was children.
Vin was hanging out backstage. He never was anywhere else.
Yeah, I want to know who is validated.
I guess at one point Vin like stuck his head out and looked at the crowd, and people straight up saw him.
Okay.
So
that's a bummer. Usually when I'm in a concert, I'm almost looking everywhere but the performance.
Yeah.
So I didn't clock that.
So Jesse comes out, and it's why we're all here. It's to see Jesse Lacey. And
honestly, very low key, like his walkout where he's just kind of, it didn't register to me that was it. And it was a very nonchalant entrance after all this time.
And for the haters, for the naysayers, this is how the show began.
Let's get on with it.
So hate all you want, that 700 something people losing their shit.
Yeah, I mean you did it right? You the way you release it's going to be all the people who really just wanted to be there.
Right.
Like if you wanted to buy something to make a statement, good luck trying to get that ticket.
Yeah, that is something I was genuinely concerned about and didn't want to really call attention to it, but
it would have been incredibly uncomfortable and like whatever. It's such a small, like, I just wonder how that would have went down, because the second one person acted outside the collective, it was shut down very quickly. It felt.
Oh, they would have gotten decked.
There was no group think. Well, I guess it was all group. I don't know.
No, if there was someone yelling boo, it
would have been so quiet and hearing that. Oh man,
it would not have been met positively. It would not have gone over the way they think it would have gone over.
But you want to know what? I think it might have worked. I could have seen him just exiting.
That would be very Morrissey of him, wouldn't it? Sorry, Stephen Patrick Morrissey. That would be very Morrissey.
That would have.
I mean, he was. You could tell he was taking a gamble at doing a public performance like this, where like charging people to come see him perform, and like people like us, they traveled from all over.
If you look at the Reddit thread that, somebody started that said, "Hey, where are you coming from?" and the amount of people putting their locations and saying same. I think it was almost half and half who flew in. I mean, the people in front of me, they clearly came in from Providence or Boston. I was listening to their conversations and they were talking about Newport, Rhode Island. I wanted to chime in, but I'm awkward.
And meanwhile, I was standing next to someone who lived like a few miles down the road.
Oh, and also, we did not say hi because, again, we're shy and awkward, but the couple that sat directly behind us on the plane there while I watched my brand new videos, at one point says the name Jesse Lacey right as we land. Me and Jack look at each other. I did see them at the concert and they were behind us on the way home.
So they did literally the same exact thing we did.
Yep. They were on the plane as we were taxiing to the gate, getting the alert where I got the alert on my phone that brand new is back. And I jumped, turned to Jack. Finally, I get to tell him something. And then we hear the chatter behind us. Like, there was a silent acknowledgement of us, but quite a few, many people I think came from Boston.
Yeah. We're so socially awkward.
We need others to say hi first, and then we're very friendly.
But the folks I was chatting with at the show, I apologize for not introducing myself. And typically that's something I would do, but I was just like,
I said to Jack, should we say something? And you said no, which is unlike you.
It was a range of emotions. And again, too, at that stage, we were all thinking that Brand New was about to reunite in front of us publicly. And, I was very confidently giving out information and making predictions. And hell if I knew they were going to come true, as we soon found out. So Jesse performs, and this was the first song that he did of his set, and it's called Get It Back, and we'll explain in a second here the significance of this verse.
They were the greatest band in a century. They were gonna stay together forever, but they couldn't keep up with the kids, so they just called it quits. And now they're gone and you won't get them back. And now they're gone and you won't get them back. And now they're gone and you won't get them back. And now they're gone and you won't get them back.
I do need to mention this video coming from Rye Hill Chai Bowls, Chicago Bulls, on YouTube. He stood right at the front of the stage and recorded the entire show in 4K.
Wait, is that what you just played?
All this audio that I have been playing and I'm about to play all comes from this gentleman.
Oh, okay.
None of your video is being played. None of mine is being played either, because we had this guy who just had a whole studio production going on at the show. So he performs that acoustic. Jesse performs that acoustic, and then a couple songs later decides to bring out a full band. And boy, were not only was I misled, a lot of us were misled.
Like this deserves a slower breakdown, Jack.
Go ahead.
I turned to Jack in the middle. What was the song that he was going to start with all this anticipation built up? Like, I felt like that message was meaningful. Whatever he chose to go to, what was he going to say to us first? And that was going to have significance of what was to come. And once that song is played,
yes, Get It Right. Or Get It Back.
Get It Back, right? And we know, this is the first time we're hearing the song, but the lyrics have been printed before. The lyrics,
which we didn't know.
Yeah, all the lore, I mean, especially in the last, really, really right. A lot of the science fiction lore, I don't know like the back of my hand exactly. I mean, there's a lot, but seeing on Reddit, yep, okay, that's not the first time we've seen these words. Regardless, that's what he chose to play. And I turned to Jack and said, I take back everything I said about them getting back together.
That's what everybody really
I said, okay, that's not happening.
Yeah, you hear when that song kicked off the set, and you can kind of hear just the reaction.
The air let out of there. Yeah.
Yeah, like, aw. And part of me is thinking, like, I hear this song, I'm like, so they're gonna come out after this, right?
You're saying there's a chance.
They're still gonna come out, right? But then we find out that the lyrics of this song were in the vinyl edition of Science Fiction.
Yeah, but again, Jack, that doesn't mean anything to me. That's what he decided to play.
Yeah.
That was the message he was conveying. And
the song's been in existence, so like it's been around for a long time. You know, it's just we're hearing it as a song for the first time that night.
Yeah.
But of course, the lyrics. And now, if the plan again too is always to break up the band the year after Science Fiction came out, and that's what that song was in reference to, then okay. But then that's how he starts the set off, and presumably quashes any anticipation of a brand new reunion either happening there or at all.
Yep.
So
then we go into the second song, right?
So we get 6 songs from Jesse during this. We're gonna split the set into parts, because this first part is just Jesse. It's just acoustic. So we get Two-Headed Boy by Neutral Milk Hotel.
Heard it, seen it. He loves that. Yep.
He performed that at his private show last month. He performs Coca-Cola, which is a Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me B-side. It is a re-recording of Brothers, or Brothers song, however you want to call it.
Or is Brothers a reworking of that?
I'm going to say that Coca-Cola emerged from a hate writing session after the demos leaked, and Brothers leaked, and Jesse feeling now that the lyrics that were out there in 2006 to the song that wasn't meant to be heard are now inadequate. I would have preferred to hear Brothers and not Coca-Cola, but whatever. I shouldn't be complaining.
You love Brothers.
I love that. I love that song. It's one of my favorite brand new songs. One of my favorite Jesse songs. And it's one of my favorite Jesse guitar riffs. The Boy Who Blocked His Own Shot from Deja Entendu.
That's a moment though, Jack. I mean, that, given again the significance of us all being here in a room, missing the band, we get a brand new song. I mean, a big,
yeah,
the song.
That is when it really started to hit me that, holy shit, we're here, we're doing this. And I'm hearing this song again, and I didn't think I'd hear it. Following that up is Sealed to Me, which exists only in live form. There's no studio recording of this song that has ever been revealed. It was performed live several times in 2016, but never came out as an official recording.
He loves to do that.
Jesse playing his electric, his jazz master, and the riff reminds me of a song called Lullaby by a very good band called Low. It also sounds a little bit like, I'd say DeGosser. Just a little bit. Just the chord structure is very reminiscent of.
Well, he was tinkering with his guitar for a few. It gave away Sealed to Me, I think. I think he buried the lead with what was coming. There was some excitement around us.
You can always tell. I have an ear for when like a band, like they switch the effects.
Yeah.
And they hit a pedal and a certain sound comes out. It kind of gives away what's about to come, and I'm really good at picking up on that.
It sounded like Untitled for a second.
Jesse also very nervous.
Okay, well, yeah. So I was hoping you would cover in between the songs what he was said, because as someone who was there, and granted, yeah, you can see it. There's multiple versions online. It was a highly filmed event.
I find that adverbs are overrated and that your adjectives are your go-to guys.
Hardlyfocus.com.
Damn it.
This podcast is Hardly Focused. Dissecting the news one tangent at a time. Hear more at hardlyfocus.com.
Jesse talking to the crowd a lot. Fortunately, we also had what Kate likes to call the yeller. We had someone who just yelling at Jesse. Nothing negative. All very positive. But like, bro, could you shut up?
I know. And I know the consensus, right? Or online, he was calling him Jess.
Talking about Jesse's
talking
wife.
about his family and the names. And here's the thing. We all know them. We're all students of the band. But they're so private. I just would never acknowledge that I know. I barely want to acknowledge that I know his name. He scares me.
Once he mentioned Jesse's daughter, like that's when you can tell people around him were starting to get mad.
But if it is true that this is a family friend who had just a couple drinks and is having a, this is my brother moment, and we're just not filled in on that, less awkward. Okay.
Yeah. What was the claim? Like he drank a bunch of tequila on an empty stomach and was just like tequila drunk. Like,
I don't know. I got the full story. I just seen various comments and I couldn't validate who was vouching for him.
I'm of the mind that he either was kicked out of the show eventually or someone finally took off their sock and shoved it down his throat, his gullet, because he finally went silent at an appropriate time. Had he kept talking, and we'll get it in a bit, had he kept talking after that moment, someone probably would have knocked him out.
Yeah, it was very uncomfortable to hear. There was not enough people for the sounds of one to really be drowned out in the crowd. It was almost like you're at a meeting and then you just have like a guy just yelling in the meeting. It was very, I want to just say the mood in the room too. Everyone was crying. This was a big emotional event for one way or another for a lot of people. In a way, looking around and seeing the grown men cry was, the emo kids crying.
Yeah.
It was so bizarre, but it made sense.
Well, the next song Jesse played was "Play Crack the Sky," which I think for brand new fans is top tier song, and that's when I started getting emotional because again, another song I figured I would never hear this song performed live again by Jesse, and here we are, and I'm hearing it, and my opinion, it's beautiful, and yeah, just to hear it again, just to hear it live, and go online. There are videos online of this entire performance. Like I mentioned, the one that I got all of this audio from, Rye Hill CHI Bulls. That's where you can watch this entire set in 4K. Jesse, if you remember at the private show a few months ago, he requested that certain parts of the show not be filmed. It didn't seem to be a restriction in place, and that comes to the second part of the set.
Yeah, well, right before that too, like I said, Jack, I think it's important the things he said, where he says, I think it was right after Seal to Me, he's his knees are knocking, so he's gonna play as quickly as he can so he can get the fuck out of there. And that said a lot to me. He really was nervous, and he is a nervous man.
Yeah,
that's nothing new. I
can also tell he's nervous because he was very communicative with the crowd. And
yeah,
he does not talk
breaking
to the
crowd. Ice.
Yeah, he does not talk to the crowd that much.
No, he never does.
When I saw
unless
them,
he's been drinking.
When I saw them at Boston Calling in 2014, the most he said to the crowd was like the most generic thing a musician could say to their audience, which was, quote, "Thank you for having us in your city." Like most, to establish a personal connection with the crowd, you talk about the city in which you're playing, even if it's something corny like, "Hey, I heard Boston likes to party." Like, dude just says, "Thanks for having us in your city." Like, you're welcome. Do you even know where you are? So
I've been to brand new shows he hasn't said a goddamn word, and then I've been to ones where the banter is thick between, when you have people on stage. But
oh, he was very and even like when we had the yeller, like people are like yelling stuff to him, like, and he was like responding to it, which unfortunately I think was then fueling some of the audience behavior.
Well, he was touched by it because when this person did call out Andrea, that
as weird as it was,
yeah.
Sorry, as weird as it was, yeah, he responded very positively to that, and then he mentioned.
Well, in fairness, right? Every time the guy said something, we're all just looking at Jesse with as if he's so fragile, right? That like this is going to mess something up for us. The momentum is so much like. Again, I could see Jesse just walking off at some point if it got to be too much. Mm-hmm. That it felt like you had to kid glove it in a way. Yeah. But when he was reacting well, and we look at him, we're like, "Are you receiving this okay?" And he was. Then we all rode that. So the Andrea thing though sparked him to say that was really cool. To hear her name shouted, give her some credit, and she's the big reason why I'm here doing this.
Yeah.
And that felt like a natural flow. And so maybe it was somebody that knows him, or he just got lucky here. But yeah, that I think then fueled the fire. But he was calling him Jess, which just seemed weird.
Yeah. That always irks me when like, not just with him, but when there's like a public figure that has a name like Jesse, which, can be shortened to Jess, but like people just refer to them as that, where they usually don't go by that nickname.
No, that would be.
That's when you feel it's like, dude, you're crossing a line by saying that.
Yeah.
Like, are they even okay with having their name shortened like that? Like I think something like that is incredibly disrespectful if you're not like in a circle. But
I don't know. I mean, I don't mean to make it so serious. Like it's just someone in the crowd yelling at, a celeb, but given the vibe in the room, the time, it was different. It was a different, if there was a lot more people there, maybe it wouldn't have felt so awkward.
After Play Crack the Sky, we're introduced to what I'm now at this point going to guess is just a one-off band called the Human Surfers. Maybe just Human Surfers. And this was one of those things where the name was confirmed after the show and it was never referenced during the show. And is also yet another reference to the vinyl of Science Fiction, where Human Surfers
was it confirmed
is
after, or is it just somebody who saw the set list? Their name was there.
I think someone saw the set list. They may have thought that was a song title and then realized when this was, what they thought was the song title was skipped over. Then they thought, hey, this might be the name of this collective that's now on stage performing. And then a crew member posted their sticker that they were wearing.
Well, this was where the letdown happened, right? Because now he's in a band's coming out. So he goes into that he's, since he's lived in Nashville and living in a music city, and he didn't anticipate that he would be around, what it would be like being around so many people who are extremely talented. Mm-hmm. And I think that was a big inspiration, a big plus of moving out of New York into Nashville. And
well, if I may poke fun at it a little bit, two of those musicians, I think, might have been like what he picked up from living in Nashville, because the other two are like good friends of his, established friends of his for a long time.
Yeah, whatever, Yeah. This felt generic, but he says you might recognize one of them. So at this point, we know it's not the band coming out on stage to play those instruments that we're seeing. But, here comes Brian.
Yeah, I recognize one of the guys that comes out because he was like kind of like coming on like he came on stage at one point earlier And I got off stage and I thought this guy looked familiar. And then he comes out and it's Sean Kirkpatrick from a very good band called Color Revolt. And they're not only have opened for Brand New, that's how I've seen them, but they're also on Brand New's music label, Procrastinate Music Traders. So he's on bass. A lady named Jo Shornico from Australia, I believe, was on keyboards. A guy named Blair White on guitar. And then Brian Lane, as you mentioned, on drums. So now we effectively have half of Brand New, but it's not Brand New. But you know what? As I was saying to the people around us, we'll take it.
Oh, we would have taken anything. Yeah. But it was just further confirmation. Okay, it's not going to be tonight.
No. But they were phenomenal altogether, and I hope this is something that perhaps we get more of down the road.
Yep.
Because we don't know if the songs that were then played are going to be attributed to this band or if they end up becoming brand new songs.
Well, this is where the speculation started, right? Between Reddit and in the crowd. And these conversations are happening at the same time. Is this his next project? Is this, like, are we going to see him in this form now for the rest of the year? Is there going to be an album with this band? Like, it just seemed this is going to be what his focus is on, and that conversation started.
Whole lot of what ifs, but they began playing this song, which is another one of my favorite songs. It's from the leaked demos from 2006.
This was, I think, the best moment.
This, I'll play the clip for it because this takes me back to when their EP 3 Demos Reworked came out. And the reaction I had hearing Brother's song on that EP and realizing what they could do with it after being familiar with a version of that song for so long and then hearing, expecting to hear something that I was familiar with and being very, very pleasantly surprised. This is what happened when they were playing track 1 from that album of leaked demos, the song Good Man.
Something dies when you grow older, but you do the best you can. I'm glad, I am glad, found a good man.
That song deserved some instruments.
I grabbed you. I was losing my shit when all those instruments kicked in because this is what happened when I heard the reworked version of Brothers, because during that first chorus, instruments come in that were not present on the demo. And I'm like, oh my God. They've made an official studio recording of this song. They've finished it. And to hear Jesse having finished Good Man.
I know you keep saying having finished, and I was like, what do you mean?
You always
to us, the song was finished. This is just
I've been under the impression since 2006 that all those demos were not 100% complete. Because that's what they were.
This
They're
is
demos.
what I want you to fill in the gaps of where you sit, where you believe, because we've all come to our own consensus.
Yeah, no, those demos were never finished. Those were never going to be the complete songs that you heard on The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me. And when the reworked EP came out, and then when that version of Nobody Moves was released from those same sessions, you're hearing now what I would believe was, the intended versions of the songs. So Good Man, I figured like, okay, it's a good song, but it's it's short. Like the demo itself is only like a minute and 20 seconds long. Yeah. It's not that long of a song. I always thought like there's got to be more to this. It's a very good track, but there's got to be more. And we're just hearing building blocks here. So
I miss hearing the kind of like scratchiness of the beginning of that song. Just, when it was on my iPod, that like, well, I wrote your name. Ugh.
Yeah. What I love about that version of Sewing Season, that demo, is that it is just so lo-fi.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's whatever that ambient sound is in the background. Like I love that.
I was telling my best friend from high school, I was just filling her in on some of the week, and I was trying to convey to her, right, that there was a new verse and instrumentals added to the song, and I was like, Good Man, like blah blah blah, and she's like, I don't know. I don't think so. I was like, Untitled One back in the, because I think she burned me a CD like way back when that just was like, yeah, it's Untitled One. She's like, oh, I know that song. I'm like, oh, yep, okay.
I never. So I know like the album, like they officially call it Leaked Demos 2006. I'm never going to call it that. I'm always going to call it Fight Off Your Demons.
I know.
And I'm never going to call the tracks by the names that are on the like the track list for that album, what we're calling the official titles. Like Brothers song, I'm still going to call it Brothers because that was it was like Untitled.
No, Nobody Moves is Untitled 5.
Yeah.
It's always Untitled 5 to me.
Yeah, what I love about Sewing Season is that it's like, even if they gave that song multiple working titles throughout its existence, it always had in parentheses, yeah.
Yeah.
But like that demo of Luca, I'm always going to call it Mamas.
Okay. It's Untitled 8.
And then what did Morrissey become?
Oh shit.
Till I awake, we just hoping you made it. Yeah, but what's the actual?
Hold on.
Missing You.
Oh,
so the official title's Missing You, but I'm always going to call it Morrissey.
Yeah, I don't know. It is funny where we sit with it.
But I think Good Man was always, I think it was always called Good Man.
Yeah. I mean, that's fitting. I don't know. It was Untitled One on my mixtape that someone made me and wrote out. So
it was the first song on your mixtape.
Yep. It was. I bought it for $20, but oh crap, what was the anecdote I was just gonna insert here?
Fight Off Your Demons.
Yeah, okay, so it was in the last few weeks, right, that somebody wrote on Reddit, they're like, where did that come from? And I had a moment of being like, I mean, I know the website at the time, and I know the shirts had this message on it, but I had to reflect and be like, was that actually confirmed to be the album title before it got scrapped? I don't know if that has ever been confirmed.
They do so many weird things.
Yeah. I know a lot of this stuff is meant to be a mystery and, insert your own feelings here. They're not the type to necessarily confirm it until they just say an offhand comment and it's a puzzle piece added to the story. But I had that moment of, I'm like, actually, yeah, that hasn't been confirmed.
I mean, it seems like there's so many subliminal messages in science fiction, for example, that we're alluding to not only a breakup, but then a reunion, a revival, like that. These things were always planned. They were very carefully and meticulously planned.
Well, somebody put again on Reddit today that the exact amount of time between their last performance in Dallas and the new date is 7 years, 7 months, and 7 days. I didn't go to the calendar to confirm that.
That sounds like something they would do.
That sounds like something Taylor would do. I feel like.
Yeah,
they're not. Yeah, I don't know.
Their first show of their reunion is where the last, what ended up being their last show ever.
Do you remember that date? Because I want to do my own research on them.
Oh God, I think it was in October of 2017, maybe like October 24th.
No, I think the Boston show was the 28th.
So maybe early November, no relation. But I mean, sure, I can find out if there is a October 29th. I was close.
Oh, okay.
October 29th, 2017, Bomb Factory in Dallas, Texas. And then that is where the first show is happening on March 26th of this year.
I'm doing this in the calculator.
But I think they just call it The Factory now.
I think they should. I'm like, reading to Jack, they're playing at the Bomb Factory on a plane was not great.
And that's after they changed their name from their original moniker, which was Right Into a Building. No? Okay.
I don't know an easy way to confirm the amount of.
Well,
I'll have to do that later.
Do you want to talk about the new songs? Because then with Human Surfers, we get 4 songs in a row that we are either going to attribute again to Human Surfers, or these could be Jesse solo songs, or they could be brand new songs. We don't know. But the first one that they played is called Cut the Line, and it sounds like this. I think it's the most brand new sounding song when it comes to having full instruments.
So catchy. I've been singing that around the house all day.
Adios was the next one they played, which took a couple tries.
Yeah, so this is, the nerves really.
He was out of tune too.
Yeah, and the banter then in the back of the room. I don't know. That was kind of fun. Yeah.
That was very Jesus and Mary Chain of him to restart a song in the middle of it live.
Who did that? What? The Wonder Years when we saw them. That was like the first time. Oh no, was it? It might have been whoever opened for the Wonder Years. But when we saw them a few years ago,
yeah.
Like, truthfully, it felt like two-thirds of the song was over, and then they're like, "Cut it. We're doing the whole thing over."
I've seen plenty of bands where it's just in the middle of the song, they just stop and start again.
I would.
And like, why? I never understood why Jesus and Mary Jane do it.
The opener did that as well.
That's right. That's right. Here's Adios.
What if he was like, what if I
thinking of this earlier, that this might be like, if it were to end up on a, you know, hypothetical new album, that it would be like a skip for me. But just listening to that clip right there, I'm just thinking, well, you know what? I like it.
I hear you on that. So I saw somebody again post in the Reddit saying, "Don't sleep on Adios. That song's so good." And in my head, I'm like, to me, that's the least memorable one. Obviously, I have a couple lines that I've heard that I keep saying on repeat. That's what's stuck, and I'm spending more time going back and listening to it. So, you know, you need to sit with songs for a little bit. There
are songs on brand new albums, like on Daisy and Science Fiction, that I don't skip. It's just like I just listen to them, but I don't really listen to them. They just kind of they just kind of play.
Daisy, I loved everything I've ever heard of theirs, right? Like, but on putting everything in order of what I liked immediately or what I prefer, Daisy meant, as I got older, Daisy made sense to me in a way that it didn't the day it came out.
Yeah. Next up, of the 4 new songs that Jesse played, this one is called When I Die.
That's where he broke down to a dance.
Yep.
He did that little hip hop dance.
Yeah, I mean, I do recall when after Daisy came out, and then speculation, when's the next brand new album coming out, Jesse had said, like, look, I want to try to write happy songs. I want to try to write stuff that's more upbeat. And that was probably the most polished sounding song that we got out of that whole set.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, the keyboardist there, Joe, whose last name I will no doubt butcher, so I'm not going to repeat it, really putting her skills to the test. Here is When I Die from the show at the Eastside Bowl.
Did you send the rain to grow? Cherry pit stuck in my throat. Did you do the math to logic perfectly so I would show when I
I thought up to that point, that was my favorite song.
Yeah.
Of the new tracks that we got. And also, I kind of mentioned earlier that brand new, not fully country. And again, we don't know like what will become of these songs, but I do feel like these tracks in particular have like Good Man, for example, the finished version of Good Man. This one, there's more of like an alt country element to them.
I could see that happening. This song didn't feel like a brand new song to me.
It
felt like a Manchester orchestra.
It reminded me of Simple Man, which was a song. It was a demo from, I believe it was the Devil and God sessions or the Daisy sessions, but it was posted on the last day of the year in 2018, and as a very uncharacteristically like country song. Like it's a very country song for brand new, and they don't do like country music. And this hearing these like took me back to Simple Man and thinking like, all right, well now obviously Jesse's in Nashville, so like there's going to be a country influence to it, but is this going to be the direction that like future music from him takes, regardless of what the label is?
I could see them totally doing something new.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. But then again, maybe Maybe I would. I don't know.
Alt country would work well for him.
I would love
think.
it. I mean, that's right up my alley.
Same. I was, so
is it?
So before we were at the Country Music Hall of Fame, when I was there last year, the group I was with, I was asked, what is a slide guitar? And I have no idea how to explain it. I can explain how to play it, but I can't articulate like the sound that it makes. So the only song I could think of is a song called Cut Short by the Honorary Title that features a slide guitar. Well, and then of course you asked me the same exact question at the Hall of Fame, and you would think I'd have time to have thought of a great example to play that features a slide guitar, and of course I pulled up the same exact song. But on the topic of alt country, a very good band, Sleeper Car. You should listen to them. They're very good. It features Jim Ward from the bands At the Drive-In in Sparta. He living in Texas was influenced to do an alt country album. He recorded it with his dad playing bass, but very prominent usage of the slide guitar. So if you're into alt country, and it sounds like you are, Becky, Sleeper Car.
Yeah, but I like country.
You like country in general. I'm more of an alt country fan. I like bands that aren't country that infuse the elements of country into their work.
You are listening to Hardly Focused.
I have such a hard time wrapping my head around the anti-vax mindset. Any doctor tells me, hey, we have a goo. Want us to inject you with it? I go, fuck yeah. I don't care what's in it. Just give it to me. Just inject me with the goo. If you say my life will be materially improved by that goo flowing through my veins, fucking give me the goo.
Hardly Focused.
The last of this set with Human Surfers was a new song, but it wasn't written by Jesse. It was written by his brother Jamie, who was the singer in a band called Costa. And this song, when I said that When I Die was my favorite song up to this point, then he plays this one. It's called Helium. And it sounds like this.
Was my favorite.
Yeah, me too. Reminds me a lot of a song from Millie Michelson by Thrice.
And that is one of my favorite songs. I got to hear that when they played with Brand New and
hell yeah.
Whatever that large arena is in New York. Back in the day.
They could only be one. What, Forest Hills?
No.
Madison Square Garden?
Nope, the other one.
The other one? There's
like one other arena.
One other arena in New York?
Or Brooklyn or something.
Brooklyn?
A hockey team plays there. Or a basketball
Barclays
team.
Center?
That sounds more right. I could be totally mad. I don't know.
I'm thinking of like the Forest Hills is somewhere they always would play.
No, it wasn't that. It was like, I don't know. There's a poster online for that show going for $999.
Oh yeah, you could afford that. Just like you could afford
poster.
this. Just like you could afford this trip to Nashville.
I'm Googling where they played.
But yeah, that song written by Jesse's brother Jamie, and yeah, I think that was of the newer material, my favorite of the night. But the band, I guess, anticlimactically exits. But it was nice to see Brian playing drums. It was nice to see Sean Kirkpatrick from Color Revolt up there. And if anything becomes of that project, I welcome it because it was phenomenal. Now, we get to what is probably the saddest part of the whole set, where Jesse addresses the crowd about the death of his stepson, Miles, which happened several years ago, but wasn't really made public by the family until I think only last year, maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, Miles being Andrea's son. And, won't get into specifics about that whole thing, but obviously that impacted Jesse. And, this is a man who's been through hell and back. And you could tell it's not something that he wanted to really address and go into. But, at the same time,
he definitely wanted to honor him.
Yeah. He wanted to, but he didn't want to.
Of course, right? And I think it was just interesting. He's somebody who writes about death and grief a lot. That is in what comes after. I don't know. So just then having a real major experience with it, bringing that up, and then also saying he's a big reason why Jesse's up there performing too, almost like in a weird way.
Right.
We have him to thank or honor for this kind of moment as well. I thought it was a nice tribute. I don't know if I would call it that, but that's what recognition where we sat. It was silent. You could hear a pin drop.
Yeah, and I would say nary a dry eye after that.
Right. The silent tears streaming.
Yeah, even the dude who's yelling to Jesse earlier in the set, silent, nowhere to be heard.
Oh, and thank God. We were all just clenching our butts, hoping no one ruined this.
Yeah. The song called Death, and this was performed at the private show a couple months back. And for those that heard it at the time, and everyone at that show seemed to heed the request not to film the new songs that were played then. And the consensus, though, afterwards, that those that heard it said Death was one of the best songs that Jesse had written since 2017. And here it is.
I will buy you cover, you go mend your wing. I will ride out with you to the end of everything. We'll burn all our possessions, cause there's nothing you can bring. But when we cross the river, death's the only song I'll sing. If I go first, if you're delayed, skipping stones on the far shore, I will wait.
What'd you think of Death?
Look, I like all he puts out, but I preferred some of the other ones that I heard that night.
Yeah.
Which feels wrong to say, but that is the truth.
Right. I do sometimes think that the songs that you write, as the musicians write, when I say you, I mean the musicians, as either tributes or in response to passing of a loved one, it can sometimes be their weakest work. Like Linkin Park, I remember Mike Shinoda wrote a song about Chester Bennington that I think we only heard once, and it was at the tribute concert that the band put on for him. And quite honestly, I thought it was awful.
Yeah.
And I hate saying that, but I'm dude, this just isn't a good song. Like, I get you're hurting and you wrote it from a place of hurt.
You're like, that one's for you. You can keep that one.
Yeah.
I know.
But the lyrics in Jesse's song Death, I mean,
he can't really do a bad song. So
no, I'm not saying it's a bad song in the least. And there's a lot more power behind it. Knowing what it's about, knowing what it was, I guess, inspired by. Inspired sounds like it's a positive word, but I mean, if that's his way of grieving, then okay. The set ended with Two-Headed Boy Part 2 by Neutral Milk Hotel, and that was it. That was our first performance from Jesse since 2017. I genuinely thought he was then going to come back out on stage with Brian, Vin, and Garrett, and we get a brand new set, but no, the show ended. I think everybody was kind of waiting for that. Then the lights came up and we were sent on our way. And Becky, what happened as we were walking out of the performance venue and through the bar? What was playing over the PA as we left?
Oh gosh, now titles of songs. I'm like, I don't know. Was it Head Club? What was the name of the song that I was listening to? I don't.
Maybe, but it was Taking Back Sunday. It was from Tell Your Friends.
So we're going from whatever music they're playing as the show ends, and we're walking into the actual bowling area, bar area. And so the transition from, the sound system playing inside the bowling alley then goes right into old Taking Back Sunday. And no one seemed to really be taking that in. And I was like, is somebody being mean here? I didn't know if this was like someone like, it was touch tunes and someone's having their fuck you moment, and I'm so glad Jack's out. So when we got there and we were lined up, I went to the bar to get us drinks, and I was like, this bartender's Adam Lazzara. Like, he just looked just like him. But there was a lot going on. I didn't even get to he probably gets it a lot. It's probably a lot. And I'm like, is it him? I'm like, is this is this a reality show that they're filming? And this could have happened. And I asked this bartender, I was like, and of course he says this. I was looking at the fun cans of beer, like IPAs that are central to this area. He doesn't know I'm an out of town. I just didn't communicate that to him. And I said, what are the fun beers people drink here? And he says, Miller Lite. And I went, yeah, okay. That makes sense. Anyways, and so I just pointed one, but I was like, Jack would appreciate him. And as the song's playing, no, not even. You said something like, "There's Adam Lazzara," and then I was like, "Are you even picking up with who's playing right now?" And then it was like, "Oh my god."
Ghost Man on Third was the song.
Thank you. I don't know. I'm horrible with song names.
Well, at the end of it, your consensus, what did you think of the overall show?
Well, I was also interested in their merch, I just want to say, and it was kind of cool. There was 500 posters, more than enough. I don't think they sold out all of them. I think he did initial them. I did grab one, but I was like, how do you hold a poster during the show?
Yeah, I almost never get posters because
I never would. This had to be documented.
Unless you're going to get it in a tube, something that's going to protect it.
No, I don't mind holding a poster when we're sitting in a nice comfy seat. I knew this was going to be a whole thing. I thought I needed that poster. And then I needed Jack to have a poster. So, Jack, and
I got the better number. I got a higher number than you.
I'm trying to think of what, I know, that was funny. I'm trying to think of what would, it was incredible. I mean, it just was. It felt special. It felt intimate. It felt cathartic. I was happy me and you, given the significance in the relationship, met a lovely couple next to us. I am sorry I didn't get your name, but a really cute girl, a really sweet girl, just telling me, she's like, me and my boyfriend met because of it. I was like, same. And she's like, I named my dog Luca. I'm like, my dog's name Jace, Jesse Lacey, JC, I don't know. Just went, and she's like, "Are we having the same experience?" I was like, "Yeah." That was cool. They were lovely. Nothing could. I'm trying to think of what could have happened that would have made me say, "No, that show wasn't good." Like, I don't think any. I don't know. I'm biased. So you ask me how it was. I'm like, it was the greatest thing we've ever been to.
Well, like a maniac coming in and.
Well, I mean, that would have been fucking horrific.
I'm happy that didn't happen, and I really hope nothing like that happens at either of the three
it's
shows.
It's really
that
hard
are playing.
to. You just mean like I just would be like, there's so much controversy in every band. There's so many people that I don't know. It just always seems like the show goes on. There's no protesters outside.
Yeah. That'd be like anyone that would seriously do this. Like, I wish I had that type of fuck you money to just go in to like pay for a ticket to go in and then just try to disrupt the show and heckle and ruin it for everybody else.
Well, I think you're just going to be immediately spotted as a drunk person, and the venue is going to be like, you got to go, because there were like fans who heckle and they're just drunk.
Right.
I don't even know that they would be given the time of day to really say, what's your message here? I just don't think that's happening. And that was something we were debating is this just a loud discourse on Twitter because it's Twitter, or insert whatever social media site? And it's fair. Like, people I know have like real genuine feelings. That's not necessarily what I'm saying, but I'm just trying to read the room of what the majority is saying. And Jack, you and I were talking about it even before the show, where I was like, I'm not seeing a lot of it. And you said you were seeing a lot of, pushback to the announcement.
Yeah. Loudwire has a really good, split of people who are not happy about this news, that are very much against this, and, citing past unpleasantness, what they believe, et cetera, et cetera. And then the posts from people who are like you and I, who are very excited about this news and are happy that our favorite band is back.
Well, yeah, you got to just like finish off with, I know we've kind of touched upon it, but this was a Jesse show. It was the closest thing I thought we would get to me and you seeing Brand New, at least in the near future. I did think this was coming. Again, I changed my tune in that very first song. Mm-hmm. Our car ride home, our plane ride home was, good thing we went and saw it. Especially given how nervous he was, in a way that was, he seemed very very humbled, looking at the ground.
Yeah.
I know he's not a very social person, especially when he performs, but it was more pronounced.
I also wonder too if he was genuinely taken aback by the reaction. I'm sure he was coming out expecting there to be hecklers, and
I don't think he was. I really don't. Not the way he did the show. I think it was intentional.
I think he was nervous, just the reaction of how people were going to just respond to him being up there, and then just to see that everyone is cheering and shouting his name and everything. He's just like, holy shit.
I think he just was afraid of how rusty he would be, where you go from doing the same thing every day, where it's a job, you're performing in front of people, to not doing it for so long.
Yeah.
And then it's like, how am I going to react?
And then I'd say it's kind of a big leap going from Eastside Bowl to the Bomb Factory. I mean, that's a significantly larger venue.
Well, I was saying to Jack, I think it was almost like he's like, I owe it to my band to do the first one on my own and take the reaction and take the, press writings and take that punch, I guess you will, on my own before I let the band take it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so he did it small. Like, it was just, he had to get this out of the way. I thought maybe there would be one or two more before. It wasn't just practice. I think this was just the ceremonial Band-Aid ripoff that he's like, all right, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll take all the reaction on to myself before I put the band in front of it.
And then having the rest of the band there.
Yeah, they're in support of him. I think this was him like, no, I have to do it myself. Like, I owe it to you guys in a way. And they're still like, you don't have to do it, man, but okay.
Well, I mean, to get the news that
I should have bricked.
Yeah, to get the news that they had announced tour dates, I couldn't believe it, especially the lyrics to Get It Back, as you said, Becky, that's, just playing that and leading us to believe, well, it's done. We're not getting that reunion. Oh, LOL, JK. We actually are. And you know what? It's happening. Deal with it. And if you don't like it, like, that's fine.
It feels like...
Just deal with it.
I don't know. I shouldn't speculate, but it does feel like there was some sort of true, like, I am truly going to step back and put in work to be a better person.
Yeah.
And not just keep playing through it. Like, true time off.
I know we've talked about it at length, but again, there are famous people out there who continue to have very lucrative and successful careers that have done or have been accused of similar things, if not worse. And we don't talk about it.
Right, because they just played through it. The fact that he left gave room for more conversation to happen. Whether that's good, PR-wise, I don't know. But as far as truly feeling like, I mean, I'm just going to go by his words where he said, I'm done. I've done a lot of work to change, but yes, I was not a good person.
Yeah. Like, how dare he be repentant? How dare we...
Yeah, I don't know that we can hold somebody. We can't punish someone forever.
Sure. Yeah.
And like, I just want to be honest when I say that. I do believe that in general, but you're going to hear my bias creep in because this band has meant something to me and I'm having a hard time. Like that's just going to shine through.
Same. Yeah. Same. I believe in second chances. I certainly have been afforded some second chances in my time. And I am sure that those who would say, no, he doesn't deserve a second chance would be then themselves begging for a second chance should they fuck up royally at any point in their lives and realize that they don't have anyone on their side. They'd be begging for a second chance. There'd be a lot of hypocrisy in this. And I go back to that tweet from late last year, and I'm just paraphrasing it, where they said we must all allow ourselves a certain degree of hypocrisy. And mine is that I'm very excited that Brand New is playing shows again. Oh yeah, and I mean I knew I'd be excited. Their significance never went away, despite the band going away. In my world, that's a reality, and so I'm just like, yes, I'm stressed right now. Like, I need to go see them. It seems like there's some people, insiders, right, who have been correct in that this might have been coming, even if their timing wasn't perfect.
I don't know. I want to say it's likely that there probably will be a lot more shows than just these 3 announced, but because we don't know, I have to get to one of these 3 shows. I know. I predict it's going to be hard. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I said to Jack yesterday, their socials have not put it out there, right? Like if you signed up for some of their alerts, of course Reddit knows about it, but I'm like, I hope word doesn't get out to that many people that just try to gobble these up. And seeing that their socials hadn't posted about it, I was very excited. And then I think it was like at 3:00 today, got an alert on their Twitter. I was like, well, we have our first tweet.
Yep. I don't think though that I don't think that I've seen their like Facebook be updated. Just their Twitter. And also, you know what's going to happen? All 3 of these shows are going to sell out. And
we knew they would.
And that's another instance, or I'm going to say, deal with it. They're going to sell out.
I think people though, I think people know that. I think if you're disappointed, I totally get that. But again, as we were talking about 3 weeks ago on the show, we knew it. They've always sold out. The anticipation's much greater. They have, I can't believe how big that Reddit is. Like over 50,000 people. That's a big fan Reddit.
Yeah, there are 58,000 people out there that are seemingly in support of this.
And are willing to fly in
from wherever to see it happen.
We're going to try to go to Nashville again. We're on vacation that week. We're rerouting our plane for another day.
This is going to be a interesting few weeks leading up to this.
I mean, we're doing, again, I do think, you know, if you can't make it to these shows, as soon as we get tickets, there's going to be we're playing in all your local area. I just don't want to take that chance.
To wrap this up, the rumor mill saying that there's a larger tour in the works with Not a Surf and the Menzingers. And if that ends up being true.
There's a couple other possibilities in there too, yeah.
Yeah, if that ends up being true, then that's like I'm calling that the like official, like we're back.
Oh, no. I mean,
we are back.
It's not official.
Yeah.
We're back, babe. Sorry.
Right. We are back, but like at that point, like, okay,
Jack's just here for the openers.
But at that point, you're and again, you can take that to your grave. No pun intended. But like at that point, then you better be disliking the openers by association at that point.
Well, I feel like you're saying it like it's a fuck you to someone, Jack.
It is indeed a fuck you.
But like, I don't think it needs. Why does it need to be? It doesn't. Like I
hate these people
that are upset with the band.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. If somebody did something wrong and like you have a feeling towards it and like, I don't know, I'm like, you're validated for that. I get it. Cause I would hate bands if they didn't mean something to me.
Yeah.
It's easy to hate them if you don't happen to also like them.
Sure.
And so I just want to like,
hey, that's
where I'm like, well, I'm making an exception here. It's tough. It's just like, I don't know how to separate it all.
You'll be proud of me. I'm not fighting anybody.
But why would you? Online. I'm just like, let them.
Well, because I know
feel
it's
something. You don't know what they've been through where it means something more.
Yeah. Well, I know it's a losing battle too.
I don't know. Like you don't work for them. You don't need to defend them that hard, but.
Yeah. All right. Well, Rebecca, thank you.
You got it, dude.
I'm happy that you are happy. I'm happy that we got to take this in together, and it's a show for the books. Even if we did get a brand new,
you don't seem that stoked to go fly out. Like, are you just exhausted?
I am exhausted.
Are you like? You really? Like, I'm like, I would have preferred to go see brand new.
I mean, it's I fear this is going to be Taylor Swift all over again. and I need to make sure I'm just in the right mindset.
I'm shocked to hear that that's even a possibility that you wouldn't like. I don't know how this is even no.
I mean, you brought it up earlier. I mean, it would only be Taylor Swift and Brand New to be the ones to get you to really go insane trying to get tickets.
Oh yeah,
going out of your way to.
For me, yeah, but I kind of thought you would be like Taylor level with this. You don't seem to be.
I am very excited, but it's just having to like say like, okay, well now we gotta, I gotta travel for this. I gotta switch my plans up. And,
yeah, it's a whole headache.
And there's still things up in the air. Like, when is this happening? What show? Like, there's still a lot of questions.
There's only for us one possibility, really.
Yeah.
It's the Nashville show. So there you go.
Well, as we get closer to, I'm sure
it's not that hard. It's just the money.
Yeah. No, there's that too. Oh, don't even get me started on the money. All right.
I don't know. I'm a little bummed to hear you questioning it.
Questioning it?
Yeah. Or like not full throttle excitement.
Ask me again when I wake up tomorrow.
Yeah.
As it's 12:40 a.m. right now and I'm a little tired.
Yeah.
But ask me when I have some more energy.
Oh.
Because believe me, I am excited. Am I conveying it right now? Probably not.
You
as
haven't
strongly
conveyed
as...
it since it came out, and I just feel I'm on this one alone. I'm going to be
fuck
traveling
do you mean
alone.
I haven't been conveying. I've been incredibly excited.
You've been too sleepy to be excited.
I've been very excited. I've been posting about it. I've been talking to people about it.
Yeah, I'm just judging you based on how me and you talk.
I'll be excited when we have something locked in.
It's locked. We're getting there. This is Taylor style. We will find a way.
Oh boy, I've heard that one before. And
you were there 2 nights.
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. And that was totally planned. It was fun.
What do you mean it was totally planned?
We weren't planning on being there 2 nights. You had no plan going into that.
No, the plan was get to the city she's at and get tickets. And we got to the city she was at. And we got tickets.
Sure.
The plan worked.
The plan cobbled together with chewed gum and popsicle sticks. And I'm amazed it worked.
And there we were, like 19 rows back.
Yeah, I'm grateful for it, but I cannot.
That's not going to be like.
I cannot believe that happened. I don't foresee this happening with Brand New.
I don't either. I foresee us at least having somewhat of an idea if we will have tickets or not.
Yeah.
Soon.
It's just there's a lot of planning that I know needs to go into this, and I'm just it's just a flight, man.
Oh,
jeez. All right. Well, we will keep you posted on how that goes.
I will be there, and I'm excited. So, Jack, find your own way.
All right. Find your own way with this. I'm holding up my middle finger.
You're not bringing my vibes down. I will be there. I am a brand new traveler. This is in my DNA.
Well, I'll be there with you, but I'm probably going to bitch and complain about things along the way.
And I have no time for that, so I will. We will take 2 separate planes.
I can't wait for someone to listen to this episode and be like, "Well, I didn't realize Kate was back."
Well, you know what, Jack? Sometimes you bring out the Kate in all of us. Kate, sometimes you just got to travel alone.
All right. On that note, thank you for listening. We'll talk at you next time. Goodbye, Becky.
Bye, Jack.
Goodbye.
Amortization may not have happened.
This has been a presentation of the Solid Listen Podcast Network.